And I'll start again. Hi. Oh, you missed my uh, animation, but I'm not redoing it. Okay, so here we go. I'm Julia Gray. Thank you for inviting me to do this. Um, I'm not going to be as erudite and in depth as our last week's presenter, which was really outstanding. So if you haven't seen it, go back, watch it. It was amazing. But So I went a slightly different route because I just don't have that same depth of knowledge as John Worthington. But I'm in the middle of this, so I thought it would be good to just kind of talk about how I got to where I am now, what I'm doing, and where I am in the middle of this progress. So it's called Planning for ESM. We're rolling out ITSM and a new ITSM software tool, so the information was slightly off. I'll be talking a little bit about how we got here, why we needed a new ITSM software and ITSM in general, a little bit about how I've been using organizational service management, and then say, hey, where are we now? Which honestly is not very far in our journey, but sometimes it's good to hear what other people are doing. So let me take a step back. Who am I? And I really couldn't fit everything in one slide, so I just put placeholder text here. And my background includes working as a kindergarten teacher, working for the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, and believe it or not, working at the same institution, Oakton College, for the last almost 28 years, 27 and a half years. And in my role at Oakton College, I was first hired to be someone on our satellite campus to kind of be the face of technology. So it was very interesting talking to Kat about humanizing IT, because I think that's the other piece of humanizing IT is who can be that helpful face of IT, who can help you, who can be the person to relate to. And so I was kind of that person. And in my 27-year journey, I think quite a lot about how can I make technology easy for people. It comes from my degree in education as well. What can I do? How can we make things easier? I got involved in our website. And there's Don't Make Me Think is was a big book back in the day. And I think some of these pieces about that I learned from website development and user testing and journey mapping, all of which we're now really talking about. How does that apply to service management? Are all pieces that I'm taking in as I go forward. So there's way much more than that, but I thought that was a good introduction. So how did we get here? How did I get to the point where I am now and I'm talking about enterprise service management or a unified service management system and how to connect them together. So back in 2019-ish, we implemented a new IT service management system because it was going to solve all of our problems and it was going to be wonderful and we'd be really a good IT service management shop. And we spent a lot of time with a lot of people in the department really involved with how do we develop our service catalog. We led workshops on it, rolled it out, and we had two different problems with that. One was we only had one of our verticals really adopt it, kind of one and a half. And we didn't actually designate anyone to really support this, right? So when you roll out a system and don't have anyone to support it, we all know how this goes. And we know accountability because we only have the one vertical doing it. So it was used, it wasn't used effectively. And I didn't put on here the other thing that we really didn't look at is, as a whole, our maturity in IT service management, our departmental understanding of what IT service management is. So it was all well intentioned and trying to move our department forward, but it just really wasn't as successful as it could have been. So about 2 years ago, we found out that the system was bought out, and I'm trying not to name names here. And so it made us think, well, are we doing the right thing? So we thought, okay, they have an early adopter program to the new company system. So we thought, oh yeah, we'll do that. Which was a really good thing. I spent a lot of time and energy moving over to that, but it made us really think about what do we really need from IT service management and service management in general, and what do we need in a system? So we got through the early adopter season and realized, one, we just don't have the maturity to use the system to the level that we could, and that we really need to step back and start over and think about what is IT service management and what is the right tool for us to do that. So, so as I start to realize that we're just really not in the right place for this, and I go through the iTool training and get a whole bunch of tools under my belt and thoughts about processes, and learn about EdCar, which I know is not part of iTool, but that's how I first found out about ProSci. I realized I need to build up some awareness about what is service management and what is IT service management. So what do? I started to work through awareness. Hey, you know what? We need to really think about what are our services? What do we present? So we started an IT service management initiative, just not about not about the tool that we're going to use, but what is service management? What does that mean? And it was very ITIL based for the first, I would say, 6 months of it. Then we started to switch over to this idea of humanizing IT, which I think was just a wonderful conference for me in terms of kind of validating the way I wanted to move this process. And we also snuck in, or I snuck in, some ideas that service management is not just an IT purview. It goes across our college. And that had actually naturally, organically come out because as IT, as you probably know, you get everything. If it's on a computer, if it's on the web browser, if it's anything you have to do online, it goes to IT, even if it has nothing to do with IT. So obviously there are a lot of people who had questions about so many things across the college. And the only resource they could figure out to get help was the IT help desk. So I started talking with other areas that we regularly had to interact with about, maybe we could create a joint location so that when someone needs help, an employee or a student, they could go to that location and get help, right? Kind of do this all together. So I kind of snuck in these little pieces because we already have these relationships with these areas because we're already working with them on a very regular basis. Things come in all the time. So of course, once you start building that awareness and people start thinking about that, you start thinking through that desire. Oh my gosh, that would be so great when we get stuff for IT too, It's not us. We don't know how to do this. It would be really great to be able to work together to solve these issues. So I snuck in enterprise, and I have EMS instead of ESM, sorry, in here. And I'm sorry, I'm doing a pre-canned thing from Canva, and they're great pictures of dogs, but I'm not sure that they really have anything to do with the subject matter at hand. So they are with you. So then, so now we're working through, we're actually in this ITSM service management initiative in terms of what is service management. So we're doing this knowledge piece, but at the same time, trying to bring in other people across the college about what is an enterprise service management initiative. What can that look like? And we're very early on in the phases of this because it's a very new concept for us. One of the things I did do, I did initial user testing on our ITSM platform, and I showed the portal. And the very first page of the portal I mocked up not just IT, but I put in, hey, wouldn't it be great if you could also go to human resources, if you could go to facilities, if you could go to payroll, and our payroll and human resources are completely separate areas in our college. If you could go to for student advice, if you could go to all these different areas. I mocked this up. So the very first time I'm even presenting this outside of IT to a core group of middle management. Um, and then to my vice president later, I had a landing page that promoted enterprise service management, that promoted a unified service management model so that it's already kind of the seeds are planted. They know that this is possible. They can see, hey, we could have something like this. And that's, we're still in this knowledge piece. What is service management? What is IT service management? And how do we use our new service management tool? So the rest of it, we're not in yet, right? We're just in the starting phases. So when Matt asked me to do this presentation, I was like, well, I can, but we're not very far in this. But I think in thinking about it, I'm in this place. Other people are in this place. Other people will be in this place. So I thought it was kind of helpful to talk about some of the approaches that I'm using, and some of the things I'm talking about. And when I talk about the service management piece, I talk a lot about meeting the needs of our users or our clients or our customers, depending what model you're talking about. And users is a very old tech term, and sounds like they're all druggies, but they're not. And really understanding that the client customer experience. So I think people are getting it because all of our employees are also clients of other areas of the college. So they've all had these issues. They don't know, is it an IT issue? Is it HR issue? Is it a payroll issue? Who do I go to? And the idea is, going back to the Krug book, don't make me think. Present a place where they could say, I need help with this. We say, well, is it one of these things? Is it one of these things meet your need? And they say, oh, yeah, it's about this. Have them fill out a form, and behind the scenes, it goes to the right people. They don't need to know if it's payroll, human resources, IT, the division office. They just go to a place, say, this is what I'm having problems with, and it gets to the right person. And oops, all right. So where are we now? So I've given some hints already. We are still working through our IT service management initiative. What is service management? We just did some journey mapping, and we're going to do some more journey mapping with different personas that we've created. So we created personas, and we're doing journey mapping. And I think it was very eye-opening for people. In our persona, we did there's a specific name for that, I'm forgetting, basically a mock persona from an IT perspective.
Proto persona.
Thank you. So I haven't gotten a persona created yet from an outside of IT perspective. And it was very interesting from an IT perspective because the persona that we did, almost every single persona that we did, they said, well, they would just go to their favorite person in IT and not use our service desk, which was very eye-opening for me, since I'm over the service desk, that they thought that people didn't trust our service desk or didn't find it reliable or the right way to go. So that was a lesson for me. Hey, I need to work on this. But doing the journey mapping with that, people saw the frustration that people have when you go to someone that's not the right person and they have to route it, and then they might not route it to the right person, and then it goes back to that person. And it's a lot of circular, multiple steps. When it had it gone directly to the service desk, it would have been a much faster resolution, and people would be more satisfied about their experience working with IT. And I think people were very surprised when we walked through it because they go, well, you could just call me, I'll help you. Or you could just call this person because that's really better than using our service desk. And anyway, so we did some journey mapping. So the two areas that are going to be going live in the system that we're rolling out are information technology and try to keep, oh, yep, payroll. And in fact, those are the two that were on our last system, but we're working on that. But more importantly, we have a couple others in the pipeline. I just had some extensive talks with HR. They're very interested in this, and they're one of our key partners that we work with all the time. Starting some discussions. These are in order from the people who I've engaged with most to least. And I think HR will be coming on board within the next 6 to 8 months. Facilities, we are in initial discussions, but the vice president is somewhat eager to get facilities moved over because facilities had a data breach about a year ago, the system that they use, and they've been thinking we need to get off of this because they're not sure if the issue, if their security is still up to where it needs to be. Luckily, we don't have tons of information in there, but we have enough information that we need to get off of that. And I've had inquiries from our admission and enrollment area. So that's where we are. It's just in process, right? So as we went through this and decided, hey, we really need to redo this, it made a lot of sense for us to not think about only IT services, but how do we meet this support need, this service request need across the institution? And I was lucky enough to get buy-in from a number of people, including my vice president, after cleverly showing, hey, look, we could build this for you. So there's just one place everybody could go to, and promoting the customer service piece of it. That this really needs to be so that we're serving the people that we need to serve. And behind the scenes, we're doing our automation, our approvals, our workflows so that it goes as smoothly as possible. And we're getting that synergy between our areas. All right, so that's it. I'm going to stop presenting.